Welcome, welcome. This is part of our continuing series where we try to talk to thinkers, scholars, writers, professors across fields and opinions about the topic of political division. We're doing a series of questions with academic researchers who are experts in their field and have studied the topic of political polarization in depth. Today, we are asking a question with Woojin Kim. He's in the graduate program at the University of California at Berkeley and the economics program, where we asked him one question. One question with Woojin Kim, graduate student in economics, UC Berkeley. The reason we reached out to him was this article, the Chicago Booth Stigler Center in Pro Market. Political polarization has changed the way states governed. This is also with Stefano Della Vigna. We already covered the one question we did with Professor Della Vigna. You can watch that in a previous video. New research finds that since the 2000s, U.S. states are less likely to adopt laws enacted by other politically aligned states. In the past, policies tended to spread among New research finds that since the 2000s, U.S. states are most likely to adopt laws enacted by other politically aligned states. In the past, policies tended to spread among geographically close or demographically similar states instead. So, from basically 1980 to 2000, if a state had a particular policy, it was because all the states around it had that same policy. Then somewhere in the 2000s, this radically shifts, and states no longer have policies that their nearby states have. They have policies that other red states have. So California used to have policies similar to Arizona and Oregon and red Nevada. Now it's California has policies similar to New York and nothing like Arizona and Nevada. It wasn't like that. From the 1980s to 2000s, states made policies based upon states they were nearby. And after 2000, they stopped doing that and they started going politically charged. So polarization, basically, is what he was saying in this study. So I want to ask you one question. Do you see political polarization increasing in the future or reducing in the next 10 years based upon trends you found in your research? You were studying states used to have political polarization. Used to not have political polarization. States used to have policies that were similar to states nearby. Now states have political polarization from the year 2000. You've been watching this for years, for over a decade or 20 years. From the year 2000 forward, states are now making their decisions based upon if another state is red or another state is blue. So do you see, based upon the trends that you looked at, looking over decades, any reason that polarization might be reducing in the next 10 years? Hi, Marcus. It's difficult to predict what will happen, and I think it would depend on the political leaders that become elected and the tone they set to yes. I don't see many signs of it reducing much in the next 10 years, although one can hope. There's that word hope. I think you're noticing a pattern now. I'm just going to say, I'm not calling out the pattern, but you might be noticing that a lot of these professors use the word hope. I don't know what the solution is, but I hope. I don't know if it can be fixed, but I hope. It looks like it's going to be worse in the future, but I hope. Why are so many people that are trained to think critically and based upon reason and what can be proven and not proven, all relying on hope? Unless it's that bad and they know there's no solution. I don't see any signs of it reducing in the next 10 years. They looked at a study from 1980 to 2000 and then 2000 up to 2020, and they were showing how things were politically, ideologically polarized from the 2000 on. And the professor student is saying things are going to be bad for the next 10 years. I see no reason why things will not continue to be polarized over the next decade. From the guy who did research looking into political polarization and state preferences over the last 30 years. So he has a lot of research looking at trends over decades in the past, and he's projecting a decade in the future and saying there's nothing good coming. Another data point.